Today I'm going to be talking about some key figures in the history of libertarian thought. Our journey begins in the 6th century BCE with Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu, the Old Master. Lao Tzu was a contemporary of Confucius and the founder of Taoism, who had a profound impact on Chinese cultural and intellectual life. Lao Tzu believed in minimal government intervention and the natural order of things. He famously said, "Governing a large country is like frying a small fish. You spoil it with too much poking." Another of his beliefs was in spontaneous order. Taoism teaches that when individuals are free to act according to the nature, a harmonious and peaceful society emerges. Another proto-libertarian figure was Marcus Cicero, who lived in 106 to 43 BCE. He was one of Rome's most eloquent speakers and a prominent figure in Roman politics. Cicero's extensive writings cover topics like philosophy, politics, and law, and his ideas have had a lasting impact on Western thought. As a statesman, Cicero opposed tyranny and corruption, ultimately leading to his death on orders from Mark Antony. Cicero believed in the concept of natural law, an unwritten code that exists independently of human-made laws that governs the moral order of the universe. According to Cicero, natural law grants individuals certain inalienable rights, such as the right to life, liberty, and property. Moving on to the Middle Ages, we cannot leave out St. Thomas Aquinas. The saint was a 13th century Dominican friar, philosopher, and theologian who made significant contributions to Christian thought and scholastic philosophy. His magnum opus, the Summa Theologia, is a comprehensive work that addresses various aspects of theology, philosophy, and ethics. He also advocated the idea of civil disobedience, stating that an unjust law is no law at all. Under the Thomasian viewpoint, a law must only be obeyed if it is fair and just, a viewpoint that was later echoed by Thoreau, Thomas Paine, and others. Aquinas also developed the just war theory of Christianity, a set of criteria that must be met for a war to be considered morally justifiable. This highly influential theory emphasized the importance of self-defense, proportionality, the rights of neutrals, and the protection of non-combatants. Next up, we have Frederick Bastiat, a French economist, writer, and political theorist who is often considered a key figure in the development of classical liberal and libertarian thought. His ideas and writings, particularly his works, The Law and Economic Sophisms, have had a significant influence on modern libertarianism. Bastiat believed that the primary purpose of government was to protect individual rights. He argued against excessive government intervention and warned against the dangers of turning the government into an instrument of legalized plunder, saying, "When plunder becomes a way of life for a group of men in a society, over the course of time they create for themselves a legal system that authorizes it and a moral code that glorifies it." Bastiat also had a key insight, which he expressed in his essay, The Seen and the Unseen. When the state takes action that is seen, if welfare money is given to the poor, a hospital is built, or an orphanage, you have a tangible good. What isn't seen is what would have happened if that money hadn't been taxed in the first place, like a factory being created that would employ a bunch of people and allow them to support their families with their income, or more houses being built, drawing down the price of rent. It was also in this work that he brought us the beloved broken window fallacy. The broken window fallacy states that it appears that a boy accidentally throwing a ball through the window of a shop boosts economic activity, because after all, the shopkeeper must pay the glazier, and then the glazier has money and he can buy a steak from the butcher can pay the farmer, etc., etc. But in reality, if that hadn't happened, the shopkeeper would have spent that money on something else, like a new suit from the tailor. And the tailor would have spent that money at some other store, maybe buying some cloth from the linen factory. At its core, this parable exposes the persistent myth about the importance of the velocity of money. Because really, what's being traded isn't money. Money is a medium of exchange, but what's being traded fundamentally is production. So it doesn't matter how quickly the money circulates, because that's not going to lead to increased production. Only increased production will lead to increased production. There are a ton of other really great choices for libertarian thinkers during the heyday of classical liberalism. We could go into James Mill, John Locke, Adam Smith, David Hume, Voltaire. The list just goes on and on. But we don't have all day, so we're going to go to one of the key figures in libertarian thought, Ludwig von Mises. Mises was born in Austria, and he came of age around the turn of the 20th century. He was an economic advisor to the Austrian government during World War I, but being of Jewish descent, he had to flee Germany in 1934 for Switzerland when the Nazis were coming to power. And in 1940, he emigrated to the United States. Mises passed away in 1973, leaving behind a significant body of work that had a lasting impact on economics, political philosophy, and libertarian thought. His ideas on free markets, limited government, and individual liberty continue to influence modern economists, political thinkers, and policymakers. Mises' work inspired a new generation of Austrian economists, including his student Friedrich Hayek, who went on to win the Nobel Prize in Economics in 1974, coincidentally, just after Mises passed away. Finally, the most important libertarian of all, Murray Rothbard, born 1926, died 1995, was an American economist, historian, and political theory who played a pivotal role in the development of modern libertarian thought. He was a central figure in the Austrian School of Economics, building upon the work of Ludwig von Mises and Friedrich Hayek. Rothbard's ideas have had a lasting impact on libertarian economics and political philosophy. Rothbard pioneered the idea of anarcho-capitalism, a political philosophy that advocates for the complete elimination of government intervention in favor of voluntary exchange and private property rights. He believed that the free market could provide all essential services, including law enforcement and defense, more efficiently than a centralized government. As a student of Ludwig von Mises, Rothbard was heavily influenced by the Austrian School of Economics. He expanded upon Mises' ideas, particularly in the areas of praxeology, the study of human action, and the business cycle theory. Rothbard played a critical role in the formation and growth of the modern libertarian movement. He was involved in the founding of the Ludwig von Mises Institute, a libertarian think tank, and he also contributed to the development of the Libertarian Party in the United States. Well, this has been my video on libertarian thinkers. If you enjoyed it, please consider